Hey guys, welcome to another Kickster review. So today I'm going to be talking about Loki episode 4, which is called Heart of the TVA in season 2. And I'm just going to give you my full breakdown here. It won't take too long, so let's get started. If you've seen my previous reviews, you know I have not been very favorable of this season so far. I have not really seen much point of it. I feel like what they've told so far in the first 3 episodes could have been summed up really in one episode. So things are just really dragging for me. But here we are, episode 4 now, and to set the scene, they've brought Victor Timely, who is the Kang variant. Loki and Mobius have brought him from his timeline in the past, and they've brought him to the TVA to essentially fix the Loom, which is the machine that is all of the timelines, all of the multiverses are passing through and basically sustains all the timelines. And this Loom is at risk of, exploding essentially, which would be end all the universes. So, massive stakes here, but doesn't feel like it's quite captured in this show. But, whatever that is, that's just what we're dealing with. But yeah, so the whole episode is basically about getting him and to fix the machine and all that, and meanwhile running around contending with different villains and whatnot throughout. As I said, I haven't been a big fan of the series, but that said, I do feel a bit more positivity for this episode. Not that I'm going to say it's great or anything like that, or even necessarily good, but I felt like it was okay and actually presented some cool ideas in it that I would have liked to have seen explored more. In particular, the scene between Loki and Sylvie when they're having a discussion, which is a very kind of like ethics-based discussion where they're talking about the ideas of hope versus burning everything down or fixing what you already have. And you got Loki who's kind of defending the position of we don't need to burn everything down, we should just fix what we have and do our best and hope for the best from there, whereas Sylvie kind of wants to just burn everything down and start from scratch, mainly pertaining to the TVA is what they're talking about. And I think that was a kind of a cool discussion, and it's a shame because I would like to see that topic of this be more what this show is about, the more ethical aspect of it. They get caught up in too much of this nonsense of going to different places doing this and that, whereas I feel like there could be a more kind of philosophical debate that takes a hold of the show. And again, this is a Marvel property, this is superheroes and all this stuff. You're not going to get much of that in any of their properties. I understand that, but I feel like there's a way they could have built more of it around that theme and made it more interesting from there. And so whilst the good guys are essentially trying to get Victor Timely and protect him so that he can fix the Loom, on the other side you've got Ravonna Renslayer and her mob who are out to essentially beat him or take him for their own so they can turn him into He Who Remains, essentially, who is like the creator of all things, who's a bad guy. And so this is 2 contending parties throughout the whole episode, and essentially it all culminates in the very end in a kind of a subversive scene where you think Victor Timely is going to, he's doing something heroic. He's essentially the good guy, and he wants to do a heroic move to fix the Loom at the risk of his own life. And he takes 2 steps out there and he gets turned to spaghetti. And he was their last hope. And so when that happens, they're all just kind of dumbfounded and in shock and awe, jaws hitting the ground, all of that. And the episode concludes with the Loom essentially, well, looks like exploding. And the last shot you see is of Loki just in complete shock as, seemingly the whole world, universe, multiverses is coming to an end. And with obviously 2 episodes to go, this should feel like a bigger event, but just doesn't. And I think for a couple reasons, as I said, there's 2 episodes to go, so we know something's going to happen still that will explain this all. And another thing is that this is a TV show. It's the stakes just do not feel as high. No matter what you do within the show, you'll just never feel as high as the stakes of what we've seen in previous Marvel films, namely looking at Infinity War as the greatest example. So yeah, you do feel a moment of shock when you see this happen, more just like, oh wow, I can't believe they did it. Not so much that like, oh my god, my favorite characters are dying. There was none of that because I couldn't care less about any of these characters at this point. And all this episode reminded me of with Loki in particular is that this is just not Loki. Like, you can be Loki by name and the same actor playing him, but this is not Loki. It's not even the Loki that we really remember who was killed by Thanos' hands. This is the Loki that finished at the end of the first Avengers film, who was unsuccessful in beating the Avengers and basically portaled to this timeline. So, and he got a Cliff Notes version of his arc to become a good guy, and now he believes he's a good guy. And this Loki is like so caring about the universe, so caring about others and everyone around him. He really cares. It just doesn't feel like him at all. They tried to turn him into a hero, and I don't buy it. Like Loki is at his best when he is, conniving, when he's evil, when he's sinister, when he's like funny and like creepy, all these things. Like that's where he's at his best. And the show should really be more about that kind of Loki, not this Loki that we've got now. It feels very like tepid, very like bland and boring and generic. They've removed all the fun from his character. And another thing, talking about Kang specifically, or his name in this episode, Victor Timely, here we are now, and we have now seen a Kang, a variant of Kang, be killed 3 times now in the Marvel MCU. Well, defeated, I should say. Starting with He Who Remains in Loki Season 1, then Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man Quantumania, and now again Victor Timely in Loki Season 2. Now, he's a good guy in Season 2, but it's the same face, the same person, essentially. And yeah, we've seen him defeated again. Why do I bring this up? It's like, well, how are we supposed to take this villain seriously now going forward? If we're constantly seeing him get beaten, get defeated, all of that in different ways by different people, why is he meant to be threatening? Tell me, like, how should we take him seriously? When you compare him to the likes of a Thanos, who is just so formidable and so terrifying, this guy has none of it. If there's a million of him, you can't split up a dollar bill and make it even, like, into a million, 100 pennies, whatever you want to call it. But like, it just doesn't work like that. And so I just cannot take him seriously as the main villain of Marvel now. And I feel Marvel's in complete disarray with what they've got to work with him. And the more they can just keep doing this, killing him off in different ways, different variants, just going to cheapen him when we actually do get the final and proper conflict with him, which I assume will happen in an Avengers film eventually. But anyways, that's a topic for another day. I'm not going to dwell on it too much longer. So yeah, my overall thoughts was I felt like this might be the best episode of Season 2. That's not saying much, but I could say I enjoyed it more than the others, and that's something. I'll take what I can get. So yeah, okay episode of Loki in my opinion. Ends on a pretty big cliffhanger, so there is part of me that is curious to see just where they take it. Not so much that I'm invested. I just want to see, okay, how are they going to explain that in the next episode? And they've got 2 episodes to go, and here we are again. Said this over and over now like a broken record, but Disney Plus shows just have this terrible pattern of just leaving everything to the last episode to try and explain it. And they're going to be doing that again with this one. There's just so much to do, and we don't even really know what we've built towards, what's meant to come now. So obviously they're going to have to try and reverse this event that's seemingly ended all the universes, but whatever, we'll see what happens. So yeah, that's my overall thoughts, guys. Won't go on much than that. I hope you enjoyed this. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Give it a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you next time. Bye.